Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Help. If you find the videos useful, please subscribe to the channel. So in this video, we'll solve this problem using the concept of spanning sets. So as per the problem, which sets span R square, Y or Y naught? So we are given these four vector sets and we have to identify which of them span or do not span R square. So the rule is that vectors that are scalar multiple of each other do not span R square, and vectors that are not scalar multiple of each other span R square. So let's start with part A. So in part A, the given vectors are 3, -5, and then 2, 7. So we have to check whether these vectors are scalar multiples of each other. So for that, we should divide their x components and y components and check if we get the same result. So let's start with the x components. So we can do 3 over 2. So we cannot simplify this fraction. So that's the result we get by dividing their x components. Now we can divide their y components and we cannot reduce this fraction. So in this case, we got different results when we divided their x and y components. So that means these vectors are not scalar multiple of each other. So the conclusion is that these vectors or this set spans R square. So this should be the final answer for part A. Now we can analyze part B. So in part B, the set has vectors and so we can use the same test to find whether these vectors are scalar multiples of each other. So we'll divide the x components, and 2 divided by 0 is equal to undefined. And now we can divide their y components. And we got 0. So we got two different results for the ratio of their x and y components. So that means these vectors are not scalar multiples of each other. So the conclusion is that the second set spans R square. So now we can analyze part C. Now in this set, the vectors are now in these vectors, the y components are equal to 0. So this set represents vectors that are scalar multiple of each other because in this case, so both vectors are in the x direction. So that's why they are scalar multiple of each other. So there's a very important concept you need to understand and memorize for analyzing vectors. So whenever you get two vectors in which both x components or both y components are equal to 0, that means those vectors are scalar multiples of each other. So in this case, we can change vector 1 to vector 2 by multiplying the first vector by -3 over 2. So I can show you the steps. So we can do scalar multiplication. So we multiply both components by negative 3 over 2, and negative 3 over 2 times 2 is equal to just negative 3, and negative 3 over 2 times 0 is 0. So if we multiply the first vector by negative 3 over 2, we get the second vector. That means these vectors are scalar multiples. So as a result, this set does not span R square. So this is a very important concept you need to understand and memorize. Now we can analyze the set D. So the vectors are, so we'll start by calculating the ratio of their x and y components. And this fraction can be reduced to negative 1 over 2. And this fraction can also be reduced to negative 1 over 2. So we got the same result. That means these vectors in this set are scalar multiples of each other. That means this set does not span R square. So this should be the final answer for part D. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to solve a problem like this one. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it, and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.